In the center, Scott Russell and Andy Petrillo. You join them every weekend on the road to the Olympic Games. Scott is the prime time host. Andy is the morning host for Olympic coverage. You see there on the left, Alexandre Despatie, two-time Olympic silver medalist, three-time world champion. I'll tell you more about him, too. You know, some of us in news get an interesting opportunity to join the sports team. The Nationals' Andrew Chang is part of the team. I'm there on the right. Delighted to be joining the sports team on this particular game's coverage. And they're just to my left. You know her so well, too, in all sorts of capacities. As an Olympian, as a world champion, and part of the CBC Sports broadcast team, now soon to be part of the CBC hosting team, Perdita Felicien. Good morning, welcome, and congratulations.
Thank you, Heather. You know, I was looking at that lineup, and I'm like, oh, we're so good looking. We're so polished. I mean, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I'm so excited. Like, you got the scoop. You know that, right?
I know we're 20 minutes ahead of everybody. Well, we should be. It's our big story. So there we are. So you're in that team. You're beside me, but really your partner on air is Andrew Chang, the Nationals co-host Andrew Chang. Going to be hosting Tokyo Today, I know is the name of your show, from noon to 6 p.m. Any details that you can share?
Yeah, so we are going to bring you athlete profiles, athlete interviews. Of course, I'll be there, 7-8 years now as a trained reporter myself, but really to add the athlete insight, the athlete perspective. So all the things that you'll be watching live in prime time, Andrew and I will be dissecting and giving you the what, who, when, why, all the details. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also nervous, Heather. I'm going to ask you for some tips, I'll be honest.
Oh, I'm happy to share. But don't just talk about prime time, because my hours, I'm midnight to 6 in the morning, which you might say, that's crazy. We already get up really early. But the fact is, with Tokyo being 13 hours ahead, there's a lot of live sports. So you can look ahead to some of the things that I'll be talking about, too, okay? We'll have a deal. But yeah, in your case, as you tap into such a storied career, as an athlete, as you said, as a commentator for some of the live action for many years for Olympic coverage, and now a full-fledged host, bringing all of that to bear, what does that varied experience contribute to how you approach this kind of thing?
You know, I've been in the situation where, I've tasted the high of sport, I've tasted the low of sport. As a broadcaster, I've been in the mix zone where an athlete, has been supposed to win or do something well, Heather, and they scoot past me in the mix zone. They literally have run from me because they don't want to answer the questions. So I think I've had the full scope, the full range, right? Mm-hmm. So if an athlete has had a really great day, I can take you there. If they've had a really bad day or a mixed day, I really can give you the insight and the perspective to what that means. I'll be frank, I'll be candid. I'll probably be a little bit goofy too, because you know me. But I really, really want Canadians to have the Canadian context to these stories that we were telling. And it's such an unprecedented time in human history, of course.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, all the controversy, all the questions, all the safety issues, at the core of it is the athlete's story, and nobody can appreciate that better than you can. So as you say, take me there, because I'm wondering, I was talking about this with Marnie McBean yesterday, the chef de mission for Team Canada this time around, about what it must be like for the Canadian athletes training now. Still so many things up in the air about these games, the schedule, who's qualifying. There's no real way to even measure where they sit internationally because there have been so few test events and qualifiers. I mean, what must that be like, Perdita?
I have some really close friends who are Olympians, clearly, who are still active, still competing. We'll check in from time to time. Heather, they're stressed. They're stressed. They're under tremendous pressure. They can handle the pressure of having to perform. They can handle the pressure of having to win medals. Fine. It is the emotional toll, it's the uncertainty, it's the unknown. And here's the thing, even as our athletes arrive into Tokyo, it's going to look very different from what we're used to. I'm, going to be going into my 6th here. And, you get into the Olympics, there is no quarantine, there is no mandatory vaccination. As soon as you are done, you have to leave within 48 hours. Most likely, we'll see countries maybe dropping out, athletes dropping out. There is so much left to be figured out that our athletes are feeling that. And here's the thing, it's what you said. They can't see their coaches in the same way. They can't necessarily get the physiotherapy. Their venues are completely closed. You can't travel and qualify. So for them, there's so much up in the air, and it's a huge burden on them and their families.
And they can't even compete in front of their families and loved ones because that has been barred. Travelers from out of country not allowed to attend the games. So that's definitely something that we're going to be watching. I do want to make sure I ask you, though, Devin Haru was in yesterday with me, Perdita, and he's going to be over there in Tokyo. And he was telling me we need to be watching the storylines from Canada's female athletes. Canada's projected to win 20 medals, 19 of which are supposed to be coming, according to the experts, from women. Now, that is something we're going to be really watching closely.
Yeah, well, women, won all the medals in 2016, right? Canadian women really put us on the map. Here's what I will say about a lot of my fellow Olympians who are women who are training right now. They are so strong and they are so determined. One of the duos that I'm really, really keen to watch is Melissa Jimena Paredes and Sarah Pavin. They're the reigning world champions in beach volleyball. I mean, their ability to just command a competition, a tournament. I mean, they're going into Tokyo and it is theirs for the taking, right? I really, truly believe that women are going to lead Canadians in Tokyo, right? This is what they did in 2016, and I have no doubts that they'll repeat. But Heather, I will say this. This is the hardest Olympics I've ever had to predict, right? I love a prediction. I love saying, okay, Andre's going to get this, Damian Warner's going to get that in track and field. I really can't call it because we've hardly seen them compete in a year. So we'll see. We'll see.
We will. It'd be a lot of fun to share that journey with you. Perdita, thanks for the time today. And Perdita Felicien, you'll be seeing a whole lot more of when we begin to broadcast Tokyo Olympic Games. Thanks, Perdita. Now, again, coming back to the team and coming back to the schedule, as I say, CBC home for your Olympic coverage, 33 sports, 5 new ones, around the clock, 340 medal events, 42 different competition venues. And here is how some of the numbers go for the coverage, what you'll see. As far as television, here's the broadcast. Andy Petrillo with Olympic Games morning, 6 a.m. to noon. Medal talk, athlete interviews, live sport, of course. Then you get Perdita and Andrew, Tokyo Today from noon to 6. You heard her talk about what they're going to be doing, the stories of the day, look ahead to more of the upcoming live sports. Scott Russell has been part of our Olympic coverage, 14 Olympic Games, 5 of them he's hosting. He's back to host Olympic Games prime time, 7 until midnight. And of course, as I was mentioning, Alexandre Despatie is, we're going to be working together. I've covered Alex from the time he was a young diver. One of the best in the world, and he's developed into such a fabulous broadcaster. We're going to be working together. Live